The 130mm towed field gun M-46 was one of the most influential artillery pieces of the First Cold War. Its success forced the West to innovate in this field. This 70-year-old field gun still proves its indispensability in the modern battlefield. Today we're investigating the M-46, a Russian artillery legend. The M-46 was one of the best towed artillery pieces of its time. No Western counterparts could compete with its over 27,000 meter range for many years. Its success leveled up artillery technologies. Rapid advancements in this field in the West in the 1970s were nothing but fruits of efforts to counter M-46's supremacy. Why was such an advanced field gun developed in the USSR, not the West? We should go back to the Second World War to find an answer to this question. Germany succeeded in destroying many Soviet aircraft on the ground during the early stages of the Operation Barbarossa in 1941. So, the Red Army had to rely on artillery support to fight against the Wehrmacht, not air support. It would barely change until the end of the war. Yet the situation on the Western Front was different. The Western Allies had gained air superiority before they set foot on continental Europe. They enjoyed overwhelming air support, which would save them at their most critical moments many times. Thus, the USSR chose to rely on a concept that considered the possibility of losing its aircraft in the first hours of a possible Third World War. It invested in new and more capable artillery pieces. On the other hand, NATO countries, which did not consider going to war without air superiority, spent money on aircraft rather than field guns. So, as early as 1946, the Soviet Artillery Committee issued the technical requirements for the 130 and 152mm towed artillery systems with the same carriage to replace the existing 122mm A-19, 152mm ML-20, and other Second World War era field guns. They would have an extended range to attack the enemy's rear units. To answer this requirement, Joseph Stalin Factory No. 92, today's Nizhegorodsky Mashina Stroichilny Zavod, offered its 130mm S-69 and the 152mm S-69-1. Its rival, Factory No. 172, today's Matavilhinsky Zavoda, developed the 130mm M-46 and the 152mm M-47. The M-46 was based on the 130mm B-13 Model 1935 naval gun used on ships and for coastal defense. The company also worked on the 122mm D-74 as an alternative replacement for the A-19. The first prototypes of the M-46 and M-47 were completed in 1948. After producer trials, further works were carried out and 4 additional guns were produced for troop trials conducted in November 1950. The USSR chose the M-46 with a better performance than the 122mm D-74 and the 130mm S-69. Its serial production began in 1951. The same year, the new 130mm field gun entered the Soviet Army service. Yet, the M-46 was first seen by the Western eyes during a parade held in Moscow in 1954. So it was designated as the 130mm towed field gun M1954 by NATO. Thanks to its exceptional performance, the gun quickly became popular. On the other hand, the 152mm M47 was not that successful. So after delivering a small number, its production ceased in 1957 in favor of the D20, the 152mm version of the D74. The M46 has approximately the same weight as the 122mm A19 that it replaced. However, it has a greater range and destructive power than its predecessor. Since the barrel's maximum elevation angle is no more than 45 degrees, the M46 is defined as a field gun, not a howitzer. During travel, it is towed via a two-wheeled limber fitted to the end of the closed trails, with the spades removed and carried on each trail. To lift and support the closed trails, simple jacks on the trails just behind the main wheels are used so that the limber can be connected. Due to these attachments, the traveling weight increases to 8,450 kilograms. Armor shield fitted in front of the carriage is optional. During travel, the barrel is withdrawn by a mechanism on the right trail from the battery to the rear to reduce the overall length. The M-46 can be towed with a maximum speed of 50 km per hour via a 6x6 truck or tracked artillery tractor. Its 8-person crew can bring the field gun into action within about 4 minutes. Propelling charges are in metal cartridge cases and loaded separately from the projectile. The breech mechanism is a horizontal sliding wedge breech block type. The recoil system comprises a hydraulic buffer and a hydropneumatic recuperator. The pepper pot muzzle brake is considered not notably efficient. Still, according to many sources, it reduces muzzle flash effectively. The M-46 can send a 130mm 3UF-33 projectile to a 27,150 meter range. Alongside the Soviet-Russian ones, China, Iran, Israel, and South Africa also developed their own 130mm shells. Even though the U.S.S.R never introduced a 130mm extended range full-bore base bleed round for the gun, China and Iran developed such ammunition whose ranges are 34,600 and 37,000 meters respectively. Besides, the M-46 can fire the Firnvan guided shell with a 24,000 meter range. The field gun also has direct fire capability thanks to its OP4M35 sight and APN3 active passive night sight. Its BR-482 munition can penetrate a 150mm thick steel armor at a range of 4,000 meters. The crew of the M-46 is 8 people. In the traveling position, the field gun is 11.73 meters long, 2.45 meters wide, and 2.55 meters high. Its combat weight is 7,700 kg in the firing position. The 130mm 58 caliber gun's range is 27,150 meters with a standard projectile. The rate of fire is 5 to 6 rounds per minute. The elevation of the M-46 is between -2.5 and +45 degrees. The barrel can be traversed 25 degrees to both sides. China, which had directly copied the M-46 as the Type 59 first, developed the Type 59-1 later. This variant has a scaled-up version of some parts of the 122mm Type 60 field gun, a virtual copy of the Russian D-74. The recoil and return mechanisms were rearranged on the above left and right of the gun body. Its semi-automatic breech mechanism is a vertical sliding breech block type. The Type 59-1 has a double baffle muzzle brake instead of a pepper pot one. Its carriage also features some components from the Type 60, which makes the field gun more maneuverable than the M-46. Besides, the new carriage doesn't require a limber for towing. When the Type 59-1 is deployed in the firing position, it rests on the jack under the carriage and the 2 spades at the rear. Each spade has a caster wheel. The combat weight was reduced by using a smaller shield. The Egyptian M59-1M is the Type 59-1's licensed production version. The Romanian M1982, aka the A412, was developed via Chinese technical support. It is mounted on a split trail carriage, highly similar to that used for the local 152mm M1985 gun howitzer, and has a double baffle muzzle brake. Since the M1985's carriage is based on that used on the Russian D-20, which is also used with the D-74 and its Chinese copy, the Type 60, the M1982 has the same appearance and features as the Type 59-1. The Israeli Soltam company modernized 180 Indian M46 with a 155mm 45 caliber gun. This version is known as the M46S. Later, India locally upgraded 300 additional M46 to similar features. The name of this variant is Sharang. The Chinese GM45 combines the carriage of the Type 59 and 155mm 45 caliber ordnance of the WA-021. The Netherlands and Serbia also offered their modernization package with a 155mm 45 caliber gun. However, no M46 user has chosen the last 3 yet. Some sources claim the Russians use a modified version that combines the M46 carriage with the AK-130 naval gun. Yet, based on the alleged internet footage, we have concluded it was a wrong assumption. In recent years, many countries have developed their improvised self-propelled variants of the M46. For example, the Cuban AAP T-130 and Jupiter 5 are based on the T-34-85 tank and a heavily modified Kraz 255B 6x6 truck, respectively. India mounted the gun onto Vijayanta tank hull. This self-propelled variant, called SP-130 Catapult, was retired in 2021. Syria mounted some M-46 on an armored version of the IVECO Trakker MP-410EW 8x8 trucks. Similarly, Egypt produced its self-propelled M-46 variants based on the Kraz 6322 and Ural 4320 6x6 trucks. The Zambian army operates at least 6 Israeli ATMOS 2000 with the M-46. Some sources claim that Azerbaijan also used this version, but we couldn't find any visual evidence. The North Korean M1975 and M1991 also used the Type 59-1 and M-46. Some sources claim that M1981 and M1992 also have these guns, but their muzzle brakes clearly show that they are fitted with the 130mm SM-41 coastal gun. Some non-serial self-propelled artillery systems are fitted with this field gun. Once, China offered a Type 83 variant armed with the Type 59-1 for export markets. Vietnam developed the PTH-130 K225B prototype, which resembles the Cuban Jupiter 5. India also revealed a new Catapult variant based on the Arjun Mark I tank hull, but the project was most likely cancelled in favor of the K9 Vizor T. The Soviet-Russian 130mm SM-41, AK-130, and A222 Bereg are completely separate artillery systems from the M-46, even though they have the same caliber. Finland retired the M-46 in 2019, whose local designation was 130K54. Yet the 130TK is still in service. Contrary to the common belief, this coastal gun is not based on the M-46, but the 130K 9060 developed by Tampella separately. The long firing range of the M-46 made it one of the best counter-battery weapons of its time. According to Soviet doctrines, this field gun was positioned about 5 kilometers behind the front in attack and about 9 kilometers behind the front in defense. The M-46 batteries were supported with a counter-battery radar to detect enemy artillery positions. During those years, NATO countries mainly operated Second World War vintage artillery pieces such as the 140mm BL 5.5-inch medium gun and 155mm M114 with ranges of 16,600 and 14,600 meters respectively. They could not match with the M-46, whose range is over 27,000 meters. Some sources claim that the field gun was baptized with fire during the 1958 Second Taiwan Strait crisis. Still, the 1967 Six-Day War was the first full-scale war in which the M-46 served. Yet, since the Arab armies lost air superiority in the early hours, its range advantage could not affect the fate of the battles. On the other hand, the gun proved its value during the Vietnam War. The North Vietnamese used it for the first time in 1968 in the Battle of Quai San. Only the US M107 could match its range. Yet this 175mm self-propelled field gun had a pretty low rate of fire, and deploying it in the jungles of Vietnam was not an easy job. So, the M-46 became a fearful enemy for the US and South Vietnamese troops. It also proved itself during the Angolan Civil War and the South African Border War. During the 1970s, the South African Army tried to respond to it with its 140mm BL 5.5-inch medium guns. Until the 155mm G5 and G6 arrived on the scene, the M-46 was the best artillery piece in the war. Of course, the M-46 has fought in many other major conflicts. We do not mention all of them to keep our video short and sweet. Still, we should add one more story. To replace heavy losses in Ukraine, the Russian army has reactivated some M-46s previously stored as reserves. According to Ukrainian media, Russia has acquired 130mm shells from North Korea to operate the field gun. After the Second World War, NATO countries invested in self-propelled artillery systems rather than towed ones. So as mentioned, until the 1970s, no Western towed gun or howitzer could match the M-46 in terms of range. Yet, combat experiences in the Middle East, Vietnam, and Africa revealed that they needed a proper answer. Thus, in the 1970s, many new towed howitzers emerged, such as the French TRF-1, South African G5, Swedish FH-77, and Anglo-German-Italian FH-70 to deal with the M-46. The M-46's success led to the creation of new generation Western artillery systems. For 70 years, it has been a fearful and respected enemy. This field gun is undoubtedly a true legend. Thanks for watching our video. And please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell button to be notified of our new videos. Also, you can now click the join button to support our channel. And as always, we would greatly appreciate all of your likes, comments and shares.